Myanmar's former military chief Min Aung Hlaing is set to make another trip as civilian leader, this time to Thailand, which has been central to regional bloc ASEAN's efforts to re-engage Myanmar. Myanmar and ASEAN correspondent Leong Wai Kit with this report.
Last month, a historic pre-ASEAN meeting for Min Aung Hlaing's foreign minister. And now a post-ASEAN meeting for Min Aung Hlaing himself as Myanmar's president. Both hosted in Thailand, arguably Myanmar's closest partner within ASEAN. Thailand is trying to build a bridge between Naypyidaw and the regional bloc, but it's a bridge that could prove fragile.
ASEAN member states reaffirmed that the 5-point consensus remains to be a primary reference of ASEAN in addressing the crisis.
On 9 July, Myanmar's military-appointed parliament voted to reject ASEAN's 5-point consensus. But Philippine Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Maria Teresa Lazaro, said Myanmar's appointed Foreign Minister Tin Maung Sue assured ASEAN's counterparts that the 5-point consensus remained valid, effectively nullifying Myanmar's parliamentary resolution to reject it. But just one day after ASEAN reaffirmed the 5-point consensus, Myanmar issued a statement to again reject that plan. It argued that Min Aung Hlaing never explicitly agreed to the plan in 2021 and claimed that the statement had been issued without ASEAN member states receiving a draft copy beforehand or being given prior notice. Therefore, it said there was no consensus. Myanmar also argued that conditions on the ground have changed significantly since 2021, making the 5-point consensus no longer relevant.
If you ask me, has there been significant progress? Not enough progress.
Whether there has been progress remains a matter of debate. But Thailand has continued to engage with Min Aung Hlaing, giving him another opportunity for high-level diplomatic outreach. Bangkok is on the same page with ASEAN, though, that Myanmar needs to do more to end violence and begin inclusive political dialogue with all stakeholders. But as an immediate neighbor to Naypyidaw, Thailand has practical interests in managing cross-border conflicts, transnational crime, and humanitarian challenges.
Yeah, we appreciate and we thank to host, our people in Thailand. But on the other hand, the way the Thailand engagement is, I think, not in the right direction, I will say frankly. As a true friend of Thailand, I have to say, because, engagement with the junta one-sided will not help to give, the solutions. The solution that the Thailand would like to see, it will not reach or fulfill what Thailand wants to see.
Thailand had proposed using access to Aung San Suu Kyi as one measure of progress. Thailand is now urging Myanmar to allow ASEAN Special Envoy Ms. Lazaro to meet her as well. Whether such access will be granted remains uncertain. And even if it is, ASEAN members differ on whether that alone would amount to meaningful progress.
If ASSK or Daw Aung San Suu Kyi can be some kind of an element, perhaps, but what is still important for us is the 5-point consensus.
I don't want to define it so narrowly, and I would say, the larger picture is violence stopped, reconciliation, at least the process begun, and we see the release of political prisoners as a preamble, a prerequisite for that to happen. And also for ASEAN to be able to reach and to deliver humanitarian assistance where it is needed, wherever it is needed in Myanmar.
For now, all eyes will be on what Myanmar and Thailand can achieve through the visit and whether closed-door talks will open the door to resolving a crisis that has divided Myanmar and tested ASEAN's unity. Leong Wai Kit, CNA.
Thitinan Pongsudhirak, the Professor of Political Science and International Relations at Chulalongkorn University, joins us live from Bangkok. Professor Thitinan, you just heard a slight different takes on what will count as progress from Myanmar on this 5-point peace plan set up by ASEAN in 2021. What for you would count as material progress?
Well, the progress would have to be the compliance with the 5-point consensus. Min Aung Hlaing has not complied since he signed on to it. This has been over 5 years, and he's given himself the kind of the upper hand here. It's almost like ASEAN has to ask him to comply and to ask him to show that Aung San Suu Kyi is alive and well. And now he comes to Thailand after Laos and after Beijing and Delhi and so on. And he has momentum. But I think the onus is really on him. Since ASEAN, it's very hard for ASEAN to have a consensus on key areas, key issues like this. And the 5-point consensus Min Aung Hlaing signed on to has not been implemented. And the 5 provisions are very commonsensical, very straightforward. He has not shown his sincerity and earnestness in trying to make progress. So I think that it comes down to the same thing. I mean, we have a consensus. He has not been included in the ASEAN-related summits. So until the 5-point consensus makes headway visibly in concrete terms, nothing should change. And I think Thailand has gone way overboard in inviting him, courting him on this visit.
So suggestions then, you think that Thailand, the onus also on ASEAN member states, such as Thailand, to stand by their own 5 points, requiring some kind of progress before they make any kind of concession?
We have to remember this whole thing. It started from the November 2020 elections, right? That was the election that the NLD, National League for Democracy, Aung San Suu Kyi, they won overwhelmingly, over 85% of the vote. They have vast majority support. And that was robbed on February 1st, 2021 with the coup. And then after there was a violent civil war. I mean, thousands and thousands of people have died and, at the hands of the military, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. And we must not forget that. And now, after the bogus elections and after, China kind of supported Min Aung Hlaing, that really turned the screws, turned the table. And then he organized these bogus elections in last December, January. And now he has momentum. And he's trying to build on that momentum by going to Laos and now Thailand. But for Thailand, it's not like Laos. I'm wondering, a lot of people are wondering why, Prime Minister Anutin, he's not a seasoned diplomat. He doesn't know much about foreign policy and he doesn't try to pretend to. But why Foreign Minister Sihasak is extending this kind of red carpet treatment to General Min Aung Hlaing when he hasn't complied and implemented these 5-point consensus provisions. Even Aung San Suu Kyi, when he allowed her to be seen in public after several years. We thought that she was not around anymore. She was not alive and well. And that was kind of playing her as a pawn, as a kind of instrument, not sincere at all, just days before he's visiting Thailand. So I think he's very deceptive and devious. I think Thailand and the rest of ASEAN have to really stand by the 5-point consensus. ASEAN is divided on this. What Thailand is doing by inviting him like this is going to further undermine ASEAN's centrality and unity. So there's something going on here that I think a lot of people in Bangkok are also wondering about what the Foreign Minister Sihasak is doing.
So I would ask you, what do you think the Foreign Minister is doing?
Well, I mean, what we know based on the merits is that Thailand is true, that Thailand is unlike the other ASEAN member states. We have a long 2,400-kilometer border with Myanmar. We have a lot of border issues, transnational crimes, drug trafficking, scam networks, even contamination of a river of mining in Myanmar is affecting adversely the Thai river up north, the Kok River, for example. So these are issues to be broached, to be discussed, certainly. But I'm not sure if Thailand will be able to achieve these objectives because a lot of issues on border areas, on drug trafficking, on scam networks. Now, these are borderland states that are not under the control, really, of Min Aung Hlaing and the SAC, SSPC, and the military-backed government. So by doing this, I think Min Aung Hlaing will try to build on this and capitalize and try to regain his seat back in the ASEAN-related summits, the UN seat, and maybe even the ASEAN chairmanship. So there's something going on here that is defies reason and rationale. I'm not sure if we can really achieve these rationales based on this visit, but we do know that this is all for Min Aung Hlaing. He's building up a lot of momentum, and after Laos, now Thailand as a founder, birthplace of ASEAN, this doesn't bode well for the 5-point consensus and the ASEAN unity and centrality.
All right, a final question, and we'll stay on that centrality. So India visiting in May, June, China in June, Laos 3rd of July, and Thailand now. So Min Aung Hlaing certainly making some very significant diplomatic inroads. Final question.
Well, India, I think they also have went a bit too much too soon, unnecessarily. As the largest democracy, I think they are concerned about also border issues. China, very clear, they backed Min Aung Hlaing. I think they saw that the resistance coalition, and we have to recognize that the resistance coalition and the NUG is very weak. NUG is incompetent. They had a chance to really declare government. They had the upper hand. They had more territory back in 2023, late 2023, 2024, mid 2024. They could have declared a government, but they lost their way. And then China saw that. So they really just decided, they bit the bullet and said they had to back Min Aung Hlaing because that's the only authority in town. And, from that momentum leading to the elections and now, leading to his visits to after Beijing, Laos, and now Thailand. Thailand is kind of a breaking point in a way for ASEAN because now ASEAN's been divided. You have Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia on one side, and now Timor-Leste as well. But the other side, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. On the other side, Thailand has kind of been in between. But now I think it's going to this side, the recognition side, the legitimacy side for the military, for the junta, for Min Aung Hlaing. And that's something that's not doesn't bode well, I think, for ASEAN going forward. I think ASEAN really have to regroup, and I think Thailand really has to rethink. We have a bunch of issues now with border next door countries, and I'm not sure if we're getting this right with Min Aung Hlaing. He's going to get what he wants. I'm not sure if Thailand will get what it wants.
All right, thanks, Professor Thitinan Pongsudhirak from Chulalongkorn University, joining us from Bangkok.